Field of Eternity, and Miracle, of course, took game number 1 off of Raven pretty quickly. Let's see if Raven made some changes, or hopefully not. Maybe we'll see Cho'Gath one more time coming out from. We have no idea what Raven is going to bring out.
We really just don't. The only thing we can tell you guys is that it's likely going to be a little bit off the meta, off the charts.
That's right. But Artanis is actually a great pick here. That's one of the better thoughts coming into when I think of Raven.
So it's going to be MVP Miracle with first ban going to this because this is the map choice of Raven. Likely pushing into this one, hoping for the Artanis pick, you have to imagine, considering that HGC has had the best Artanis swaps in this tournament. Hasn't been enough to gain them a win in the series, but it did get them 2 wins against Miracle in week 5. So a lot of thought put into this one for Miracle, perhaps trying to think of the long-term plan here.
Yep, the draft for, the Vala ban seems to be more common one, especially in BOE, and L5 has been banning Vala from the beginning a lot of the times. So just banning out Vala instead of going around banning Tassadar and Zarya and everything else, because as I know you're going to say it very soon, the Tracer. Is Tracer going to come out with Tassadar?
Yeah, well, that's the big question. If Tassadar is allowed on the side of Raven, I think they will probably grab Tassadar and eventually get the Tracer with it. The question is, will that be enough? The matchup between the Task Tracer and the standard poking comp with the Li Ming and Sergeant Hammer has never gone in Tracer's way so far this tournament. Raven really considering their options in terms of bans. You know, this is not a global map, so you're not looking at the global heroes here. You're probably just looking at Zarya or Tassadar.
Very likely.
And the other one I was going to say is because they don't really have anything to pair with it, they may just try to remove the Zeratul, which will then force Miracle to pick the Tassadar if they don't want it. But they move into the Tassadar instead. So Zeratul will be available for Dami.
Maybe this shows that Raven may not be ready for Tassadar Tracer comp. And they know that Miracle played it before, and they played it okay. Not too great. It was against a stronger team, I believe, if I remember it correctly. And Miracle really taking this draft. They're usually a team that takes quick, fast draft. They pick it. They go with the band. It's crazy. You saw, remember the draft between MVP Black and MVP Miracle, which is going to come up on this Sunday? That was a quick draft. I remember that once.
Yeah, very quick. So was the Black and L5. When you get to that level and you know each other so well, that's what you do. So they're going to take the catch-all of the Malfury. They're not going to grab Li Ming, which is what I expected to see, with Li Ming just being so strong on this map in terms of poke potential, win ahead to finish the Immortals off or at least force a dive. And the other heroes to look out for here, if Raven does not put HA2 on the Artanis, is the Arthas pick, which is very strong on this map, has been used especially with Li Ming together and with Sergeant Hammer one time. But not everyone likes to talk about that one. We will see if they try to snatch up Artanis early, because I know that Miracle will consider the ban in the second phase because of the proclivity of HGC to play it, because of his skill using it on this map.
I think that's actually a very smart second ban coming in for MVP Miracle. And just to remind you guys, we're still on the patch. Oh.
Okay, Zeratul and Li Ming. So looks less likely we will see the Artanis at all.
We're still on the old patch. Yes. No ETC rework, and no. We're still on the Ragnaros Q nerf version patch.
The Tassadar Archon slight damage reduction, that patch. So quite a while ago now.
So we're likely to see ETC coming in also when they have the auto attack heroes coming in.
It's the Probius patch, if that makes it a little bit simpler for you guys. So
it's the one before Cassia.
Yes, it's the one after Probius is released, the first balance patch after Probius. I should probably look up the version number for that and tell you guys, but it probably wouldn't mean anything to you. That's why we're describing it this way.
24.3, I believe, was the way. And here comes Muradin again as Honkano. The real question is Honkano picking Haymaker this time, as Noblesse was the one that actually brought the Master Taunt onto Honkano. Maybe if they're winning the game, maybe that may be a factor coming into the game.
Well, considering two of the opponents they already have here are a little bit slippery and tough to catch, it seems unlikely with the Zeratul and the Li Ming, but we'll see. what support Raven ends up picking here. As for them ban-wise, probably looking for some sort of mage. Could even look to the Nazebo as a ban. Gul'dan not really seeing a lot of play right now. They are going to highlight the ban on Gul'dan.
Speak of the devil.
He hasn't really been used too often right now in HGC Korea. So, didn't expect to see the ban come down here. Would have rather seen the Nazebo ban. I think that's what Miracle will be looking towards after the second ban phase. It's going to be the Gul'dan. So, Miracle now, in this situation, they have tank on lockdown. So they could go into the ETC ban. The ETC doesn't pair with Li Ming for auto attacks, the Rockstar passive, but he still does have the Rockstar passive that does auto attack speed increase, the attack speed increase on this current patch that we're playing here in HGC in the pro scene. So that's something to consider. Doesn't pair with anything too great right now, but they could try to lock the warrior pool down. Other options are support bans, but Joju has a large support hero pool, so I don't feel that's the way to approach this one.
I think Raven just wanted to go into a mage choke as they themselves got Li Ming already picked for themselves. Banning Gul'dan only leaves about Kel'Thas left for Miracle, which they do not pick at all in this year, of course. Last year they did pick it a few times. The crazy moving will be on Sergeant Hammer, very likely. Now the question will be going to Sniper. What's Sniper going to be on?
I'm going to take Tyrael away. It's an interesting choice. It's not really a hero that Raven plays all too often. In fact, I want to confirm. I'm looking at it. I have not played him a single game in this tournament in all of the weeks. It's not one. So that is certainly a ear scratcher for sure. Obviously, he can be good in this situation.
Yes.
But he has his decreased health pool, increased spell armor. Maybe they feel like he's somewhat of a counter to the Zebo, which they're likely to pick up going forward. And maybe they thought Raven was going to grab Greymane with this, so they were looking to, okay, let's stop the Greymane Li Ming synergy. And perhaps this is a ban that you would look and say, okay, 100% I love this ban against Tempest, but against Raven, it's not really their go-to, although they seem to be having some trouble responding. And we'll see Nazebo taken by them. So we're going to have double spell power here in the Li Ming and the Nazebo, but no terms of ranged extra damage coming out in auto attacks.
It's a lot of damage and constant pokes coming out from Raven's side. And Miracle does not have the most diving comp. More than, of course, can dive into the back line and stall some damage. But Nazebo and Li Ming just poking out the Immortal can actually win the race pretty easily if they can have the last pick as a solid tank. But Murden is already taken. Maybe something to just counter the back lines of Hammer or Arthas should be a very good pick.
I was thinking that if we saw something like the Karzim coming out and a different, somewhat, a hero like Greymane, for example, coming out as hybrid ranged attack damage hero, I thought we were going to perhaps see Nazebo and Arthas on Miracle's side to lock down that kind of damage and make it tougher to dive in onto the Hammer and the Nazebo. They're going to take Greymane and themselves now, and Arthas, so the Nazebo removed from them. They go down the Greymane pass. So it's kind of a AP damage versus AD damage, if you will, in terms of the ranged coming out for these two teams. There's a lot of extra tank ability with the Arthas, and Arthas can help remove Karazim and Nazebo if they get too close, especially Zeratul as well. So a great choice all around and a top tier tank right now.
I think Raven is caught here. I'm pretty sure they guessed Miracle would take ETC instead, because Murden himself is a very solid tank, and even having Arthas makes it even tougher. And I think Raven wanted to actually, with that ETC given to Miracle, they wanted to take Arthas, but now they're into this choke. Even if they can just ETC would be not the most solid tank on the front line, so they have to go with Diablo now.
They've chosen Diablo. They couldn't go down the Artanis path because H82 is also the Zeratul player, so there's a role overlap there, and that's a big problem The Diablo pick has a lot of CC to it. They can look to grab and punish Sergeant Hammer if she just sits aggressively in the midpoint between Immortals, but I feel like, especially with Arthas, with the setup that MVP Miracle has, they won this draft really hard, and I think Raven expected other picks, especially the ETC one you mentioned earlier, G-Clef. But guys, we're going to go into game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity, Raven versus MVP Miracle in our first best of 5 here in Week 7. In blue, Team Raven, Joju on Karazim, Hamlin on Zeratul, NMX on Liming, Diong on Nazebo, and H82 on Diablo.
And in red, MVP Miracle, Hunkan on Muradin, Dami on Arthas, Sniper on Sergeant Hammer, Crazy Moving on Greymane, and Darvish on Malfurion.
So, having a role swap already here for Raven, with H82 actually playing the Diablo, which is a hero that Diong has been very good on in the past. It's one of his better heroes, even though he hasn't played it as much as his ETC. Surprised to see they put Hamlin on the Zeratul. He does have 4 games of Zeratul in his career, in certain weird compositions, including the double Nova, or double cloak with Nova. He's going to do some harass here. Obviously, Zeratul really struggles against Arthas specifically because Arthas can constantly reveal him when he's nearby and slow him.
That's right.
He needs to use his blinks really conservatively, because if he aggressively blinks into an Arthas, he's likely going to die if he gets caught.
From what we just saw, H82 looks pretty swift on that Diablo, and with that pickup actually pairs well with Zeratul Void Prison, and plus APOC can be a great combo with Liming's burst damage if he can actually nail that and get some resets and win the team fight. I actually like this comp a lot better than I thought initially, because instead of racing for Immortal, which they can do later with Nazebo, they're going for the heavy team fight team comp, and then we saw this working so much better for them last time. So I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's similar to how their playstyle normally works out. They have good scaling with Nazebo going into a longer game. So they want to just make sure that they take the fight to these Immortals and don't get behind in structures early so that Miracle snowballs the game. This is going to be a really even, neutral start here. And Raven, in fact, going to get the more favorable attack. So they're going to start with a lead. Hamlin going to do some harassment. Well, remember, he needs to make sure he doesn't use his blink aggressively, so just blinks away. And it ends up being a almost dead even exchange here with Raven, about 500 hit points in the lead as we go into our defensive side attacks, where both teams defend, or rather attack on their defensive side.
And now we even see Hamlin coming in for attack, and that should win them the race for the first Immortal. And this is a very good start for Raven, of course. Winning the first Immortal seemed a little bit tough, but of course having 2 solid tanks, Muradin and Arthas for Miracle's side, they are losing damage when it comes to constant long team fights. I feel like MVP Miracle really has an upper hand.
I do agree with that, and I would also say that their composition is the, I don't like to use this term, but it almost feels like the win more comp. It's a comp that's designed to win at halftime, or at least have a significant lead at halftime, to where they can use that poking power they have to defensively defend with Arthas, while they continue to poke with the Sergeant Hammer, with the Greymane on the Immortal. So when they get behind, or if they start dead even at the beginning of these Immortal fights, it's a bit of a struggle for them, because they don't have the comp to invade and attack aggressively. They have a poking comp, not a dive comp. And so that's somewhat of an issue, as we saw in that first Immortal phase. They lost it just barely, but if they had had a lead, it would have been a lot easier for them to win it whole-handedly. So we're going to actually see a bit of a commitment here on both teams on this neutral camp to the top lane. Konkano jumps away there. Looks like we're going to have this just reset completely.
He doesn't like those spiders. No one likes those spiders.
No one likes those spiders.
It does so much damage, and it's kind of something that I felt a little bit interesting. Instead of having Nazebo on the side, they actually have Zeratul going for that solo lane this entire time. I know De Jong's pokes have been consistent and doing a lot of it. Now here comes Hamlin from the backside. Crazy movement, actually doing a duel 1v1 there, and H82 just backs off.
Yep, the solo target heals that he can receive to go in there, especially with the addition of the armor that he has in Worgen form, is going to help him duel in the early game a lot easier than what Karzim could provide. But Karzim wasn't there, that's part of the problem. Joju was taking this cap, so a small win in terms of the trade 1v1, but the cap will help push this lane. Miracle pushing it back. So yeah, Miracle has the massive, really strong wave clear to help deal with this, but at the same time, this cap is being taken with a small lead that they had. Honkano, this is the kind of Honkano that I want to see. This is my favorite type of Honkano. The scouting Honkano, the which camp are they taking Honkano? Can I scare them away Honkano? This, it feels like Tempest Honkano. This feels like summer season 2016 Honkano. And I can't help but smile watching that play. We're going to have caps taken neutrally here. But again, Raven starts this first. They have the lead. And because they have Li Ming and that poke, they don't need to dive right now. So this is going to be a Miracle having to kind of force a dive situation in order to catch up. But they don't have a comp that really works well with that, especially because they're building into Cocktail for Greymane. They have to like slowly defend. They're lucky that this Immortal spawns defensively for them for this phase. And
Miracle is looking for, and looks like there will be a kill on Diablo from the beginning of the fight. Hamlin trying to do some flashy moves. That's not enough, of course. And Sergeant Hammer is actually chasing that Zeratul very low off the screen.
Okay, Darvish is just going to take him out. That was, well, that was bad. So that was a mistake for sure by Hamlin to continue to commit there.
Yep, and all this time Miracle was actually losing EXP from the beginning, but Arthas has been soaking in that bottom lane. Really not completing the quest would be the negative side on that, but they caught up the EXP and they won the Immortal race with picking off the Diablos, so they've actually already turned this around, and Raven should be the one taking the lead, but they've lost it already.
Yeah, that they have. You can see even Joju taking some cocktail damage. HG2 is going to dive in here onto Sniper, but he gets the heal, and he's going to, you know, counterwise kill HG2. There's no palm available. Level 10 is not up yet. Dami taking a lot of damage. Crazy Moving wanted to help block some of that, but he didn't get into position. Dynamax gets a reset here, and it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade as they try to catch up in Immortal health, currently down about 6k in that department. But very important for Miracle, they actually got out mostly unscathed from that situation. And see how quickly Dezebo rushes this down with those spiders. Not even the Immortals like the spiders.
We're keeping missing the Zeratul action off the screen, but looks like Hamlin's doing a great job trying to harass Malfurion and Sergeant Hammer at the same time. That's how they're actually able to win these races. Very close, 545 left for Miracles. But this goes to Raven.
Yeah, this game is on a knife's edge in terms of these races. Both of them in a less than 1,000 hit point lead for Raven. So there's no shield. The Immortal's going to have to attack in melee range almost immediately. As you can see here, already down. So can't do its ranged attack anymore, which means it's going to get in range of this fort a lot faster. And it's just being poked down. There's massive range here for Sniper.
Yep, as both teams are about to hit level 10. The biggest one, the one that's going to determine everything Greek Cleanse, is the Void Prison.
Yes.
How many targets can Void Prison lock up to connect with the APOC? That will be it. Level hit 10.
Yep, here we go. H82 nearly died before it went off here. Big 7-sided strike to get the kill onto Honkono. And it doesn't look like they're going to be able to make the combo work this time, but it doesn't matter. They got the pick. Miracle does get level 10 here now themselves. But they've already lost this fort.
Okay, no Syndragosa, no Haymaker. I like these picks. MVP Miracle is serious tonight.
That's right, Avatar coming in.
Yep, and Raven, even APOC used, I felt like there was a little bit over commitment, but they had to really push that, have that pressure going into Miracles. So I think well used for the time being. They just have to back off and maybe look for another chance later on.
Well, H82 is really being hyper-aggressive. I'm surprised they went for 7-sided, but they're looking for his grabs and his CCs to pull someone into range of the 7-sided to finish the target off. Honkono obviously being the one who's going to get the most, he's going to get the most value on, Joju will, with 7-sided, so they found him out there, caught him, and removed him, and they won the fight as a result, even without the massive, huge, incredible APOC Void combo. Hamlin here on the retreat. Wow, that is some pretty flashy footwork right there to use the Vorpal and the W actually to teleport in and then use Blink to get a second jump away.
And Honkona exactly knew where he was going, and then that was almost predicted, but not enough. Blink was way too fast. That's the power of Zero Tool, as you can see. The flash plays coming in, and Void Prison is available in 8 seconds, and looks like the camp will be just done right before then.
Yep. There it is taken. Honkona aggressively positioned here. They are unable to deny the camp. So they're going to have a massive push going into the top lane with 2 camps. Honkona looking for the big dwarf toss in here. Zombie Donut on to Hamlin. Here's the Void trying to pair it with Apop. Good pairing. Gets the double stun here. 7-sided coming down. Dami caught. He's going to be the first to fall. Honkona aggressively avatars here. They do get the 1 kill with Twilight Dream, so it's a 1-for-1. But that is going to be it as everyone walks away.
Oh yes, and MX was a little bit aggressive there as he got the reset and got stunned right away, and just silence and Twilight Dream. It wasn't the silence. It was actually the damage that actually blew, leaving up from the team fight.
Silence helping to kind of make sure that the kill went down, but this top push is going to nearly get the fort, which is why Raven has to retreat away. They did get a massive lead, 11K on the Immortals before retreating over to deal with this. So Miracle's going to try to zone out and catch up in terms of Immortal damage. It's not going to be easy. Sniper dodging most of that damage there. And Crazy Moving was just sitting here on the gray main with the 1 scouting drone to help reveal Hamlin's approach to try to catch this up. They've definitely lowered the deficit, but this is still going to be a tough situation. NMX doing a ton of free damage back here, but will DeYoung survive? He just barely does. MVP Miracle looking for big picks, looking for big kills. Look at the Incinerary Elixir damage coming out. And that was massive. They do get the kill there onto Joju as this push on the top lane continues. MVP Miracle just might be able to secure this Immortal. It's going to take a while, but perhaps they've done enough here in order to get it.
And that's the power of Miracle actually chasing. They have all the utility to actually chase the target. And H82, the only tank, has keep on getting caught in the front line. And as a Diablo, of course, you do have a lot of HP, but you're not invincible. You do have to melt against the double tank more than Anarthas and Zeratul. You cannot die like that.
The choke points they keep walking into with the cocktails coming out is giving free damage to Crazy Moving in some of these exchanges. Also Sniper with very well placed napalm strikes. So these choke points are death zones where you have these napalm strikes come in, the cocktails, as well as potential roots coming down to catch everybody. So Raven needs to try to perhaps find a better angle when they're caught in situations like this. But now Miracle will get their first Immortal of the game with the largest shields this game as well. With about 1/3 shields.
And Honkona's really going in deep to even Roots connects right away. Joju's trying to save his life with 7-sided, but that's not enough. And leaving his next target, the Honkona will find. Look at those cocktail damage coming in. So much CCs connecting from Miracle's side, and Raven couldn't really make their play at all there.
Okay, well this is disastrous. Joju now with another death, and it's a long respawn timer when you have an Immortal against you. Even though we're pretty early in this game, not even 13 minutes in. Honkona looking for big stuns here once more. Oh, this could be a nice APOC though. Under keep, Darvish blasts out Twilight Dream there. Doesn't really hit anybody as far as I saw, but anyways, the Void Prison does not really help them get anybody. They do eventually get Hammer here. And I think it's time to retreat if you're Miracle. You got the keep. There's no reason to push it any further.
Apocalypse did not connect so perfectly, but H82, this is way too aggressive going in deep. I know Miracle is retreating at the moment, and that's a 1-1 trade right there, but still Joju is out of position. He has to run for his life, and Honkona is also out of mana.
Yeah, doesn't like there's enough, or he must be on cooldown for the Innervate there. If he had an Innervate and he could have Innervated him and gotten the Stormbolt out, possibly could have gotten another kill. But Miracle takes the level 16 talent tier advantage. They have a keep ahead now. And this is going to always have some extra pressure on Raven that they have to deal with. The pressure they had in the top lane for the last Immortal phase with 2 camps, the neutral top camp and the siege camp here, the Fallen Shaman camp I should say. That was enough to get them a lead, get them that team fight win when they invaded, and then win the Immortal phase. Now they have lots of other advantages they can use to pressure to force members of Raven to retreat and deal with the catapults. So time is ticking for Raven now in this game. They need to take a fight on this next Immortal. They need to win it, and they may have to do so down to talent tier, as there's not enough time really to hit level 16. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about, DeYoung being forced to split off to deal with these catapults. And actually the top pressure coming in with the Siege Giants alone. And it got real quiet all of a sudden in the game.
Yes, it did.
But
it's like we lost the music, but we still have the game sound.
You can just hum in the background from EG Clef. That's all I need.
That's not going to be enough. The music, I love the music quality. I'm never going to be enough for the music.
Don't be down on yourself.
Let's see. Oh, right, here we go.
Okay. The composers were on lunch break. They had to go back down to the Subway sandwich, get a foot long. They got the Doritos, medium soda. They're back now. So level 16 actually will be just barely out of reach for Raven. They're very close.
Oh, Honkano.
Oh, Honkano is just really giving me flashbacks to when he was one of the best tank players in the world. All right, here's a stun coming in. The root follow-up on NMX. They're trying to remove him from the game. They're unable to, but still a lot of damage done as Crazy Moving is doing free damage there with Sniper onto the Immortal. Weakening it down. Taking a 10k hit point lead as Hamlin is forced to retreat. You know, look at H82. He's forced to go deal with the bot lane push because they have that Siege Camp 2 plus the catapults. So the lane pressure alone and all the damage done to NMX is making this a free Immortal, essentially, for Miracle, as they're about to have a fully shielded Immortal. And Raven is looking desperate as they try to invade here. If they get wiped while doing this and lose the Immortal as 2, they're probably going to lose the game off of it, so they need to be careful about how much they commit to this. They have 16 now finally. We're going to see this APOC combo attempt. Here's the double.
APOC connects and Sergeant Hammer blows up. Honkano's very low at the same time, but there's a Twilight Dream to actually turn everything around. That will be a 2-for-1 trade, and Joju just looking for his life. A very nice route onto double targets, and there we go. And I'm actually looking for more damage as Li Ming gets reset, but Crazy Moving is here to just clean things up, and DeYoung's a lost target.
This is the most coordinated I have seen Miracle play this tournament, I think. I mean, everything that we just saw there was amazing. This is game over. They won the game off this. They're not even going to finish the Immortal. They don't need to. The catapults will finish the game before respawns almost at this point. But the Darvish Twilight Dream really won the game for them, but Honkano's positioning, the attack speed slows, Crazy Movie's cocktails, and his just incredible ability to 1v1 all game long, and judgment in terms of when to go in, were on point. If I could give an MVP to that game, it definitely would have been Crazy Movie. We have the shot of Darvish here for his amazing Twilight Dream that really sealed the deal there at the end. But the composition they had worked better